Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Alright guys, again, if you really like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to someone else who would like it as well. Now, remember guys, I just got this new video set up, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to where to stare at the camera, because I'm always used to staring in this direction. Now I have to go more this way. So it's not the same exact, and I just got this today, so I'm just now learning, so please bear with me. Now, today someone asked me to speak about Aquarius and finding your purpose, your mission in life. I was talking to an Aquarius in the comment section, and apparently this is something that he or she, because I couldn't tell by the name if it was a he or a she, but he or she really wants to, think about and know about, because what they're telling me is that apparently this is something that they're dealing with. Now, I'm going to just talk about what I know, because they didn't give me a lot of information, but I'm just going to tell you what I know about finding your purpose. As an Aquarius, it is one of the most important things in the world, because an Aquarius is never really happy until we are living out our life's purpose. I don't really think anybody really is, honestly, but I think Aquarius are more in tune with the fact that they're not. And when they're not living out their life's purpose, I think it makes a lot of us really miserable. So basically, I can tell you how people have found it and how I found mine. A lot of people are thinking about this nowadays. What do I want to do with my life? What did I come to the earth for? And one of the things that helps us a lot is astrology, because in your astrological chart, if you get a full chart done, a lot of times it might mention your life's purpose. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just mentions things that would be good for you to do, such as metaphysics, nursing, being a doctor, being an IT coordinator. It'll have certain things in your chart that would be good for your soul. As far as a career and a profession is something that's going to be fulfilling to your soul. So you can often find that simply by reading your natal chart. Likewise, some people come to me and they don't have the money for a natal chart, because most people charge at least $100 for a natal chart, because we're talking about pages and pages and pages of interpretation. So a lot of people charge $100 or more for a natal chart. So let's say you don't have $100 for a natal chart. Well, if you have $60, you could do a reading, a tarot reading, or tarot and oracle card reading, and you could find out that way. You could just simply ask the cards, what is my life purpose? What are some things that will fulfill as a career my life purpose? You can just straight up ask. When you get a reading done, you can basically ask anything that the reader is comfortable with asking. I will ask any question except for stuff that's like, will my boyfriend leave his wife? I'm not asking that. But if it's health related or purpose related or love related or money related, I'll ask any of those kind of questions. Spiritually related, you basically can ask anything that you want to ask. So you can go to a reader, or you can go to somebody like that, make an appointment, and just straight up ask, what are some professions that will fulfill my life purpose? Now, let's say you don't have money for either one of those things. You can go to YouTube. YouTube has all kinds of meditations. They have meditations for finding your life purpose. They have meditations for helping motivate you to live your life purpose. You can just type that into the search engine, find you some meditations, start meditating, and after a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or whatever your soul needs, you'll start to internally figure this out. It's an introspective kind of journey. Now, some people will just do that, period. Some people will just sit with themselves and write in their journal, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do that. You could do an introspective journey, by yourself that way, either through journaling or through using some meditations you find on YouTube or on other sources. So finding your life purpose, your life mission, it is a very internal kind of thing. It's a very personal kind of thing. But you can get outside help if you want to go to an astrologer like myself, or I don't even know if I would call myself an astrologer. I just know how to do charts. I know how to read them. I know what the symbols mean, and I know how to interpret somebody's chart. You know, I think an astrologer is somebody who knows a lot more than I do, because I think that they know more of the mathematical side of astrology. So once I get to that point, then I'll call myself an astrologer. For now, I'll say that I'm somebody who knows how to read and interpret natal charts. And likewise, I'm somebody who is a skilled tarot reader. So it's very easy when you use those two mediums. But like I said, if you want to do this the free way, the other way I said about the introspective way is the way you can do it by yourself. Now, as an Aquarius, I strongly recommend this, because if you're Aquarius, one of the things that has a tendency to happen with us is we have a tendency to go in and out of careers, in and out of jobs. I have had so many jobs. I've been a security guard. I used to work for a seamstress. She was a clothing designer. I used to work for her and do the patterns, and you know, that was my first job, photocopying them. I used to work at this little program where I used to do peer education on sexual reproductive health and you know, that kind of thing. I used to work at a shelter. I was a teacher. I've taught at the YWCA. I've taught at the school district. I've taught for private school. I have done so many different jobs. And if I've been a waitress 2 different times. I mean, for me growing up, and you know, as soon as I was 13, I got a job because I wanted money. I wanted to buy stuff, you know, and my mom was a Capricorn and she would buy me stuff, but only if I did things she wanted me to do. If I was disobedient or whatever the case was, I wasn't getting nothing. So I had to learn how to get my own stuff. So I started working at 13, and I have had so many different jobs. And this is very typical for Aquarius. We have a tendency to have different jobs. We have a tendency to get fired from jobs. We have a tendency to be disliked at certain jobs or have beef at jobs. I've had all these things happen, especially with supervisors. Supervisors were the worst. I used to get along better with my clients and coworkers than I actually did the higher ups, depending upon which job it was. So as an Aquarius, this is something that many people tell me they've experienced. So it's very common for us. So if you can figure out what your mission is, your purpose is, and make that your career, that's when you have the best shot. I found my mission because I was a high school teacher and I wanted to heal. You guys know my story. I wanted to heal. I wanted to get better. I started to do priestess training. And at the end of priestess training, that's when I realized that this is something I wanted to do. I wanted to help more people heal. I wanted to help more people come to a peaceful space. And slowly but surely, it took over my life. I didn't even intend to retire. I said I was going to retire at 35, but I didn't know it was going to actually happen. I was just talking, and at 35, I retired and ended up doing what you see me do now, doing readings, doing magical work for people. That's been what I do all this time. Right now, I do teach a couple hours of English classes, but that's just been recently so I can have more money for traveling. That's just been in the past couple years. I retired in 2012 at 35 years old. And all that time, all I did was priestess work until about 2 or 3 years ago when I decided that I wanted to move here. So I was like, I need a little, side gig or something to have extra moving money. And I kept the job so I could have rent money, and use my other money for just whatever I wanted to use it for. So, like I said, as an Aquarius, this is very common for us. So a lot of us find ourselves very unhappy because of it, because we're not making enough, or we're making enough and we're not fulfilled, or both. You're not fulfilled and you're not making enough. So as an Aquarius, I really, really recommend figuring out your life purpose in one of those methods. Because once you figure out your life purpose, you'll have the fulfilling part down. And then you can slowly but surely you know, do what you got to do, that the money part comes down, you know. The money part comes together the better you are at what you do. The better you are at your craft, the better you are at whatever your life purpose is. Usually that's how the money starts to flow. Likewise, working with the law of attraction also helps that. So I want to just make sure that everybody out there knows this, especially those of you who are Aquarius. Now, if you're not Aquarius, these methods will still work for you. And some of you will feel exactly the same way. Some of you, too, are sitting there thinking, well, I'm a Capricorn and I want the same thing. Or I'm a Leo and I want the same thing. So this is not something that only Aquarius will experience. But I'm saying it to Aquarius because other signs I've come to find will keep a job, you know. They'll stay at a job. They'll be able to just kind of grin and bear it. Aquarius can't grin and bear it. We'll keep on changing jobs. When we get unhappy, we'll move on to the next gig, the next contract, the next job. And I noticed that that did not stop until I found my purpose. I've been consistently doing this since 2012. And I have more plans to do more stuff in this area continuing on. I actually intend one day to only do this again. So it's going in that direction slowly but surely, but I've always steadily been in this space since I figured out that it was my calling. When you figure out your calling, when you figure out your divine purpose and your mission, you pretty much just kind of stick with that, even if you take on a little side gig here and there. But that's what you're going to stick to because that's what fulfills you. And like I said, some other signs, even if they're not fulfilled, will hold on to their job and they'll make it happen. And Aquarius, we're not going to do that in most cases. We'll do our best. We'll try. We'll try like, I mean, I tried like hell and we will try. But in most cases, we'll become depressed. And that's what happened to me at the school district. I tried to hold on to it because it was a good job, you know, it had benefits and you know, that kind of stuff. Weekend, you know, weekends off, summers off, but I was miserable. So I kept trying to hold on to it, kept trying to hold on to it, kept trying to hold on to it. And I managed to do it for almost 10 years. But towards the end, going into the 10th year, what would have been the 10th year, around the 9th year, I became so depressed, so miserable. I found myself crying in my car before work because I didn't want to go. And once that started to happen, I knew I had to leave. And I did. I retired that year. That was my last year teaching. And I got really happy at the end when I figured that out. I figured it out around the halfway point, around February, that I wasn't going to do it anymore. And I got really happy. You know, I was still unhappy about having to go, but I got really happy that it was almost over. So I found myself in a real depression. You know, I was just like, I hated it. I hated everything about it. And not so much that I hated teaching, because I'm always teaching, but I hated, I really disliked the higher ups. That was one of the things that always bugs me. The higher ups were a big problem for me at that point. The kids, the clients, the kids are always the easiest part, but it was the higher ups. And I really became desperate not to be there anymore. And so I walked away because I was miserable and I couldn't do it no more. Every morning I was trying to amp myself up and get myself in good spirits, and I was listening to this Buddhist monk on the way to work and listening to music. I was doing everything I could to manipulate my vibration, and it was only barely getting me through the door. Some days I would sit, like I said, and cry in the parking lot because I just did not want to be there. So, like I said before, if you are in this situation, the only thing you can do is figure out what your purpose is and go towards it. Then you'll be cool. Then everything will be good. So those are the ways you can find your purpose, and that's what benefit it can have for you. So if you're interested in a reading, please email me and I will give you an appointment. If you would like to hit me up on social media, all my social media information is always underneath the videos. If you would like to become one of my patrons on Patreon, my Patreon page will also be underneath this video. And come back tomorrow because I have a lot more to say. See you later.